This message brought to you by Sambo and Hunky. For all of you haters out there, all I have to say is thank you in advance. And if you don't like this video because you're easily bored, I'll just put a video clip of Joan Jett up in this corner and you can watch her and maybe that will keep you entertained. If not, then there's a video of a bodybuilder down here in this other corner, and if that doesn't work for you, then maybe some rabbit porn or some bird porn. Hopefully, one of these will do the trick. In today's letters to Idaho Viking, we note that I get at least 1 million contacts a day from people asking me why I am such a fantastic jet boater. How did that happen? Well, it turns out that I'm really not all that fantastic of a jet boater. Lots of guys are a lot better than I am. It just turns out that I happen to have a YouTube channel and a willingness to try things. And besides, lots of the video on my channel are not me. Like this one is not me. This one is not me. And this one is not me. But this one is me. In the beginning, I was completely terrified. I was terrified just looking at my boat parked in the driveway. I was terrified when it was parked in a parking lot, when it was tied up to a dock doing nothing. I was terrified when I was moving in really terrifying water like this or like this. And in this picture, it's pretty much guaranteed that I was totally terrified of my terrifying boat that was tied up with terrifying rope to this terrifying dock that I was standing on in my terrifying boots with my terrifying life jacket, and there was terrifying water, and my truck was backed into the terrifying water, my truck being terrifying as well, and even these trees up here were probably terrifying. Everything was terrifying. But with time, I became less terrified and actually began running some rivers, and this map shows the rivers that eventually I've run in Idaho, all with this crappy old custom weld with a 460 and a Berkeley pump. In all of this, it turns out that one of the most terrifying things is other jet boaters telling me that I will sink and drown unless I follow someone first or ride with them on any new stretch of river. Now, initially, there was some wisdom in this sort of thinking, but eventually I started doing things myself or running the rivers with other people who knew absolutely nothing about them. And this map shows the result. So the red line shows the rivers that I have run in Idaho, along with other people who knew or know absolutely nothing about these rivers or about jet boating in general. The black lines show the rivers that I first deliberately ran in somebody else's boat first, or following them as though they were the leader. Now, one of the reasons for the success of this group of noobs who know absolutely nothing about the rivers is that we always deliberately run upstream first. And on the map, you can see the green lines, and they are the very brief sections of river that we either chose not to or could not run upstream first. So out of the approximately 500-mile total, maybe 30 miles was run downstream first. Lots of people ask me how they should get started themselves. Where should they go to try things out and get familiar with the river? And well, it turns out this map shows a pretty good spot to do that. There's this blue line right here between Riggins and Whitebird in Idaho, and it turns out it has pretty much every type of water that you'd like to run, and it has lots of ramps so you can get in and run a short section of river. You know, you can scout it easily from the road first, and then go run it, a few miles, a couple of rapids, whatever it takes, until you're exhausted because your adrenaline supply has run out. And then you can go back to the ramp and have a beer or, drop a couple of hits of acid or, whatever you want to do. The point I'm trying to get at here is that terror is normal. But if you don't run your boat, then you don't run your boat. The evidence suggests that you can in fact learn how to run these rivers on your own. Just take your time and scout where you need to. Maybe watch a few YouTube videos to help you out beforehand, and everything may work out just fine. And it also helps to be in the company of someone else who preferably knows as little about the river as you do. Naturally, your results may differ, and as per the usual, caveat emptor and caveat lector. This message brought to you by Sambo and Hunky.